Hello, here we are once again with Mookie Tenembaum. We are exploring through these videos for a year already, I think, or for a long time at least, his philosophy, his disillusionism, his misalgic theory. And we are now trying to introduce a practical twist, a very concrete aspect to this exercise, which has to do with problems in everyday life, problems most of us have faced or will face in the future. We already dedicated a video to analyze weddings, to analyze the formalization, as it were, of a relationship between people under an illusion, under a state or a religion. But we are going to try now and think about couples as such, whether they are formalized as a marriage or not. And what happens from a disillusionist point of view when people decide to get together to form a couple of any sort of or denomination. So let's look at couples and the way they are made from a disillusionist point of view.
Well, the first question: are you going to couple? Are you going to become part of a couple? And this is the first question. Let's think about it. You are a single person, and you have your own egosphere and things, and you have your way of sleepwalking. You sleepwalk fairly nice, but then you start thinking, I don't want to be alone. That's one possibility. Or I just met somebody who has flashed me, who I think it's the person I want to spend the rest of my life. That would be, of course, an expression, an over-expression, or really somebody I like or I trust. It could be different reasons. So now the first question is, 1 + 1, is it going to be more than 2? Because that's the whole idea of coupling, at least. But from the disillusionist point of view, the first question is, will I be able to sleepwalk enough during this time? And is this relationship going to solve me my loneliness issue, or I'm going to be in love, or have a passion, or have somebody to take care of, or somebody who will take care of me? It doesn't matter. Yes, people don't really know why they want to get in couple. I'm sure they think they know. The question is, how do they now project? How they now can prognosticate how it will look? The first thing you have to know is that love, let's say it lasts forever, even if it lasts forever, or 40 years, or I don't know, a very close to forever for a human being, is that love, as we said many times, it's 5 minutes a week. The rest of the time, you don't love, and you don't, of course, it's not that you hate somebody, yes? You're sleepwalking. You're not thinking about it. I am sure that at the beginning, it's more than 5 minutes a week. Maybe it is 5 minutes a day. Maybe it's 10 minutes a day. But it doesn't matter. In the future, things are going to get normal. You are going to continue, and again, of course, this could, of course, elapse. It may disappear. That's another issue. But let's say you think it's going to last. Even if it's going to last, it's just a very small ingredient, a very small piece in your daily life. What do you think, Florencio, about this?
Well, I think it's not very romantic as a view of coupling, but I understand how it adds up with the whole disillusionist framework. What you are saying, as I get it, is find someone, if you need to find someone, but find someone who alleviates more sufferings than it causes, and mainly that allows you to sleepwalk besides him or her. It's, I guess, not about the highlights. It's not about the passion and not about the pleasure one usually associates with couple life. It's we have a problem here that as I heard you speak, of course, I could easily see how this goes against our entire culture, our entire cultural industry of movies, of novels, of TV serials and stories that always have to do with this, as you say, very few and far between, but still they are the only moments that are represented for us in which there's passion and there's pleasure and there's romantic excess. And it's hard for me to look at a couple as this sort of bleak plain landscape that you are painting.
Well, I'm not painting. Unfortunately, it is painted, not by me. But I'm not. But I think it should be clear. There are going to be moments of passion, of course, I guess, and moment of joy and so forth. But you know, movies that deal with the Hollywood love, the Hollywood kind of love, it's edited. I mean, you just see the edited part. True. I mean, you don't see 5 years in the life of a couple during 5 years in a movie. I mean, you have to sit and watch a 5-year movie. But it's true. You know, this is to real couple life like porn is to sex, to real sex. This is just edited. It's made on purpose to show you. And if you think this is going to happen to you, oh, you're in for a big disappointment. But I think most people don't. I think people understand that. What the question is now, who do I choose? Who do I choose? This is the issue. And of course, somebody says, well, somebody you're in love to. That could be, of course, we just said many times, feelings are very important in the disillusionist theory. You have to take them in account. In fact, we always say, how would you feel if something like this or like that happens? So feeling is central to disillusionism. But this is not the issue. The issue is, how do I go in? Because 95% of the time, I want to be able to sleepwalk. Now, for that purpose, the other person whom you now have to sleepwalk with, not sleep, just sleepwalk with, that person, yes, that person has to be in sync with you. It doesn't have to be sleepwalking in the same way like you are. It just has to be synced, like you are synced with all your egosphere. I remind people, egosphere is those 20, 30 people you have around you. So when you have 20, 30 people around you, you are already in sync with them. A little bit more, a little bit less. Now you're bringing somebody into the fold. And I'm talking about you and her only. No, I'm not talking about the two egospheres that are going to be now somehow have to sync themselves also. But even that, so you would probably want somebody who has the same habits like you. That means you are from the same culture, probably the same age, I would say. And if it's a religious issue, they have the same religious view. And maybe even if it's very important for you, the political views. It doesn't matter. But you don't want somebody, or it's going to be harder if you are an American and you marry a Japanese. Of course, everything can be built, but then you have to put a lot of effort to do that. And what you want is really to sleep. Of course, you will tell me, listen, I'm not going to look for my wife only because she speaks Spanish or she's a Methodist. This doesn't make any sense. Well, in fact, this is what happens. In general, people marry people who are close to them. It used to be your cousins. I mean, people who were married cousins.
Very close, yes.
Very close. And that was really plug and play. When you marry a cousin, it's plug and play. Well, I meant symbolically, yes. But so that is what makes it easy. Yes, Florencio, you were saying.
No, but you mentioned there in passing something that I think it's interesting. It's not only individuals that get together in a couple, and these individuals usually do so willingly, but it's their entire egosphere that get together, usually unwillingly, when the in-laws meet, and they haven't, under common circumstances, they haven't chosen each other. This dawns upon them that they will now have an expanded egosphere of sorts, an intermingled egosphere with the egosphere of the other side. I think there's something there that complicates matters further from the sleepwalking point of view, from the alleviation of suffering point of view. Can we take this into account? Is this part of the equation? Is this part of the calculations we can make?
Yes, but I tell you that there are some cultures which have solved that issue. In certain cultures, the woman adopts all the husband's habits and everything, and whatever she came with the habits are dead. And the other way around. There are cultures who adopt the woman, the woman's side. It doesn't matter. Again, the problem is that when it's very hard to anticipate. How would I feel in 10 years from now? I don't know, but I can help getting a better result by having as least as possible differences with the other person. Yes, cultural, age-wise, and so forth. Again, this is not an advice of people to marry only your cousin or somebody who is your age, but this is what happens normally. Yes? And it's not a coincidence. I think people those marriages last. Again, you needing that your marriage will last may not be an aim. You could say, listen, I want to be married, and in 5 years to see what happens. I'm not. This is not for life. Again, some people want to have children. Some they don't want to have children. So this is, but again, there is a fact. I will never know what it feels to be you, and you will never know what it feels to be me. And that will happen in a couple as well.
I'm thinking there are elements in the equation that there are, I won't say certain, but easier to quantify. These are things we usually think about. How well off is the other person? How healthy the other person is. These are elements that, of course, how tall, how short. There are elements that, how old, as you said, which means on average, how long his or her life expectancy is. These are elements that I see how they are easily quantified in this sort of calculation one goes into before entering a couple. But you are mentioning now other elements that I think are almost impossible to determine in a precise way, such as feelings, and especially feelings in the long run. How will I feel around this person years from now? I think there are darker, more opaque areas. You nevertheless believe that there is some sort of equation, that there is some sort of calculation we can make before entering a couple.
No, I don't think you can make a calculation. What you can do is really, as I say, lower the chances of this to go wrong on other accounts. Of course, how would you feel, or how the other person will feel. But remember, it's 5 minutes a week. It's not like this is going to be everything. And there is habits. You know, once you have the habit, once you are in sync, maybe you don't need love to be present. Nostalgia may be enough. Children, of course, we have not spoken about that at all on purpose in this video. No, because I want to focus on that. But the problem is, again, remember, you are a disillusionist, or our people are disillusionists, but your egosphere is not. They believe they have their illusion. They believe in a family. I think there is a family, and we said family is an illusion. It doesn't happen. Tomorrow you have an attack of amnesia. You have no family. You have no children. You have nothing. So that thing, that illusion, that illusionary part, blinds by the light of the illusion from thinking ahead how things will do. And again, we are going to make mistakes. The
Mm.
question is, are we going to take in account certain things to try to make them to mitigate their effect, or are we just going to gamble? Which, again, if for you it's you feel good gambling, go ahead. This is a perfect misalgic behavior.
Very well. We are almost out of time for this video, but as you say, I think we can go into further expansions of the egosphere through parenting, and we can go into the management of the couple once it's established. So in future videos, we'll go back to this subject. This is just the beginning.
Yes, absolutely. We will come back to this issue, and this is only the beginning. Yes.
Very well.
See you next.
See you next time.
See you next time.
If you enjoyed the video, please like it, comment and subscribe.